Welcome back, everyone. Going to the second half here of Drop Frames. We hadn't done a show in like 3 weeks. Did you guys know? It's been forever since we've done this show. Because we had the what was supposed to be this interview, and then we golfed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we did the Fall Guys tournament, which, by the way, 6th place. Round of applause. We did great. Old people
Not
everywhere.
bad.
Yeah, old people everywhere. Very excited for that performance there. It was great. It was good stuff. There's been a bunch of games that we've played. So the next hour and a half, I don't. There's also been a lot of news, but you guys want to do some? Are there any? What's the big news? I guess. I feel like I can't remember what happened 4 days ago because it feels like it's been 4 years. But what happens? What's happened that's been huge the past 3? I guess GPU news was yesterday. Here's the news on that. Everyone wants a new graphics card because they look phenomenal.
Yep.
That's the short and sweet of that. What else has been happening?
How much do we know how much
Apple and Epic are still at each other's throats.
That's true. Yeah, we do, Zeke. We can what is it? $500 for the 3070, $700 for the 3080, and $1,500 for the 3090.
Yep.
And they said that the 3080.
Man, that's almost as much as a chair. Or that is as much as a chair.
Nice. Yeah, the 3080 price was pretty remarkable because I think Digital Foundry said that that's like a 80 to 90% improvement over the 2080 Ti. Or maybe that was the 3070 from some of the benchmarks that they were seeing. So it seems like a giant move forward for graphics cards, which will be really cool. But yeah, the 3090 price point is pretty big. Have you guys seen how big that card is, by the way?
It's a big honkus, isn't it?
It's 3 PCI Express things. So I think it's this about that wide, like 3 inches wide. And I think it's 13 inches long, 42 centimeters for every non-American out there, which is like
non-freedom units.
Non-freedom units, yeah. It's a fucking huge card. I don't actually think it would fit in my current case. So I guess that means I'll have to build a new computer.
Sucks.
Yeah, I know. It's just the worst. It's God, I hate it when that happens.
Just get Henry Cavill to come over and do it for you. All good.
Imagine, Zeke, if that was the thing. Imagine. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many games are going to even take advantage of that? Like, shouldn't you just wait until they make games that really make it useful?
The big thing is right now with 1440 and people like pushing these big resolutions for better monitors and bigger TVs, like there are some games that are just getting to the end of what we got right now. So
yeah,
arguably right now there's some uses for it. Now for the 1080-60 crowd, like, most of us streamers and stuff, we're not going to see a huge amount of difference here. And even like with our current gen, we'll be running Cyberpunk at, max frame rate with current stuff. But the second you get to 1440 and you start turning on that other stuff, like, yeah.
RTX and you mentioned Cyberpunk. So like RTX is going to be a big deal, obviously. And also DLSS will make a big impact in terms of
true.
Like DLSS is one of the things they talked about yesterday for a little bit. It's like one of the biggest changes, I think, for how computers are going to handle like graphics in the next couple of years, which is very exciting. The most recent game to come out with it with Death Stranding, and they're able to do like 4K 60 with a better, clearer render, like sharper render on some of the up close images at much higher frame rates, like 100 frame rate or 100 FPS, as opposed to like just running it straight up at 4K for like 30 or 40 FPS. So it's a pretty big deal for sure. As chat's pointing out right now, and I haven't looked into this too much, but Streamer News is reporting NVIDIA's, quote, working with Twitch on the next generation of game streaming. AV1, which I'm not sure what that is, I'll have to look into it, is going to enable Twitch viewers to watch it up to 1440p 120 FPS at 8,000 bitrate, a feasible bitrate that can reach much more home users, broadband, and 5G users. So it's essentially, I guess, a new codec that could exist or that will exist on Twitch. And as someone that does play at 1440p and would love to stream at the highest of highs that I can, that's awesome. Like, I hope that comes out sooner than later, for sure. That would be fantastic. But it's one of those things where we'll just have to see. It'll probably be really rough when it first launches, but they'll hopefully get it worked out to where
We'll
we
figure
can
it
actually
out.
see that stuff. Yeah, yeah. Which will be a big deal. Co, what's the latest on the Fortnite Apple Epic stuff? Are we going to war yet? Do I need to go get my pitchforks and?
No, I don't think quite
Okay.
yet, but I mean, it's getting hairy. I mean, there's no question it's getting hairy. So like they're I think the last big thing was like Apple threatened about to take like the Epic framework away, and then a judge stepped in and was like, we don't know if you can do this, and it's getting to be just legal sluggery as they kind of hit each other back and forth and see what they can do. And Epic's going for the PR angle, and Apple is just going for the fairness angle, and see what happens.
What a mess.
They did some really shady stuff versus what was it, WordPress, I think. Also,
I
like
saw that.
trying to say that like that you have to like put in the 30% purchases or we're gonna cut you. And I don't know, man. It's been like every time I follow it, like every time I try to follow some of it, it's already changed or something new has come out. So it's been kind of
He means
kind
cut
of
you
a
from the
kind of
shop. They didn't mean like physically. Did you mean physically cut
yes.
them?
No, I don't mean they're gonna come over and shank him like with a prison shank or something. Although who knows? I mean, it's Apple. You know, maybe that's exactly what they meant. Who knows, man.
I don't know. You never know. You never know. God, we haven't even done a show since the Ghosts of Tsushima announced their like multiplayer stuff that they want to do, which can't wait for that to
Oh,
come
yeah.
out. That looks fantastic. I don't know if you guys saw the trailer for that, but it's gonna be like a 4-person co-op versus AI maybe / horde mode thing coming out this fall. Zeke, I know you finished that game recently off stream. What a game.
I didn't finish it.
Oh, you didn't finish it off stream. Oh, I thought
No,
you
no.
did.
No, I'm still playing it off stream. But I got interrupted by something I did not ever see coming, which I'm sure we'll talk about. Spiritfarer.
Oh,
Like,
yes, I do want to talk about that as well, for sure.
yeah. But I can't wait. I would love to slice it up with you guys in some Tsushima.
Yeah, hell of a game. That game left a lasting mark on like open world games for me, specifically, for sure. Moving forward, it nailed that whole formula. What else is out there in like a world of news? Something happened today with, was it Warframe and Tencent? What is this news? Tencent acquires Warframe owners. So what does that actually mean?
Oh, so it did go through.
It says Tencent acquires
I remember reading about the bids and stuff.
Leiyu Technologies for around 1.4 billion. Damn. So Chinese game company Tencent, totally owned. God, this is like a press release for business bullshit. Let me try to skim through this to see if there's anything here. Nope, it's all just business bullshit. I'm trying to see what the ramifications of that actually mean for the game. Probably nothing in the short term. Yeah, it looks like not much is going to change for it in the short term. We'll see in the long term what happens there. Warframe just put out its most recent expansion. I think me and Co both did sponsored streams for Heart of Deimos. Seems great. I enjoyed my time with it. Did you get to the point where you can feed the guy your
Helmet?
Yeah. Did you get to that point?
Yeah, I'm getting pretty close. I'm currently on the faction grind, so I'm working on the grandma tokens and the family tokens and stuff. And I think you have to get, what is it, rank 2 or 3 faction, and then you can buy it from the sun, I believe. But no, I'm still working on the faction grind myself, and just kind of like enjoying that and doing the bounty missions and things.
Yeah, I did. I got nowhere near that. It's definitely a little bit into the grind, but I think maybe something like that should be for sure. Chat saying it's rank 3 to get it for those that play. Yeah, I don't know. The news, I didn't really come with a bunch of news prepared, so I think we should just talk about games because we've got a lot of them, because we've been playing a lot of them. Zeke, we'll start with you. You mentioned Spiritfarer. The other reason that this is on my radar, so to speak, is Dodger and a handful of other streamers I've seen finish the game said that it made like a lasting mark on them in terms of how to actually like process death and grieve around the idea of death. So like, what does that mean? What is Spiritfarer like? Talk to me about this game.
Well, Spiritfarer comes on like like it says in the elevator pitch. It's a cozy management game. but it's the underlying thing is you build these relationships with spirits that you invite onto your boat, and you are with them and you see them like every day. You have to like, I mean, if you like are like me, like when I was playing, I had a schedule for it. I would get up in the morning, I'd ring the morning bell to wake everybody up. I'd give everybody breakfast and a hug. Like that's the first thing I would do every day. So I got used to doing that every day. Got used to feeding them and hugging them every day. And you do that lots of times before like you complete their journey, their quest line, basically. So you get to know them over a period of time, and you get attached to them. Especially if they like are like they say cool things or.
God
Sorry.
damn it.
All right, I apologize. But yeah, you say things, or you have conversations with them. You get to know their personality. You get to know who they were in their other life. Because basically, I think the land of the Spiritfarer is limbo. Is basically that point in time after death, before you go on to your whatever's beyond. So you wait there until you're ready to go, and your job as the Spiritfarer is to help them be ready to go. So
Damn. Okay.
they'll say stuff like, I never like went to the top of a cliff and watched the sunrise or something like that. I mean, that's not in the game. I just pulled that out of my head. But like, so you do that. You give them, there's a little quest that says, oh, go to this island and show them the top of it as the sun's setting or whatever. So you do that. And then they thank you for it. And everybody goes to bed. And then you wake up in the morning, you feed them, give them a hug again. And then eventually they say, there's a little exclamation point by them that says like, hey, there's something else I wanted to do. And you keep doing that. And you do enough of them over a long enough period of time where you really become like it feels like you know them as like party members. You know how you get like if you ever get play an RPG and you get attached to certain party members.
Sure.
And then if they die or whatever, you're kind of heartbroken. Like this is like the game that is that. It's like you have this party of people on your boat that you see every day. And then eventually they go, I think I'm ready to go. And you're like, no, we have all the time in the world now. We can go look at the sunrise again. And they're like, nope, I need to go now. And you're like, oh God. And then you take them to their final reward.
Huh.
And it's like, I teared up. Like I get like a little emotional just thinking about it. Like I teared up because I know I felt like I know these people's stories, these spirit stories. And they tell it in such a way that is honest. It's not sappy. It never struck me as, oh, we're going to really try and pull at your heartstrings now. Because some of them, you don't like, when you let them go, like, it didn't really affect me all that much. Because they were kind of jerks, you know? But some of them, it's just like, some of them hit really close to home. They're stories of fathers and sons and brothers and sisters and mothers and all that stuff. So if you have any, like, sort of emotional attachment to any of those subjects, there's gonna be at least one in the game that's just gonna fucking break your heart and wreck you.
Yeah.
Like I dare you not to tear up. But also, like, there's always something to do. Like if you like, there's always little side things to do, tend your garden and all that kind of stuff. But the thing that I really want to stress for someone like me, the management is uber forgiving. If you don't water your plants, they'll just stay needing water. They're not going to wither and die. They'll just need water forever until you pass through like a rainstorm. So you can never water your plants and just go through rainstorms and they'll grow. They'll grow slower, but they'll grow. They'll be fine. So nothing seemed like overly urgent. Also, the game is a complete experience, meaning I tweeted about this. It doesn't drag out. The ending of it, or like the ending comes when it feels like it should. You know, there's not like one, because I finished the game with like only 3 achievements left undone. Like I did all of them.
What was the Zeke time on that?
I think it was like 50 something hours.
Holy shit. Okay.
Wow.
That's
But
long.
the thing is, I
Wow.
spent a lot of time doing stuff that I didn't need to do. Like I spent a lot of time like I discovered after the game, after I finished it, that I didn't need to really tend to my plants all that like meticulously. I didn't need to, water them every day, harvest that. Like I ended up with just oodles of inventory that I didn't really need. So that was there's a lot of hours in there that I don't regret any hours I spent, but there's a lot of hours in there that I spent that like making things and making dishes and smelting and crafting and shit that I didn't need to do.
Yeah.
But also like there is I spend a lot of time like a lot of people sleep through the night because they give you the option, like when the nighttime comes and everybody's sleeping, you can't travel because for some like that's one of the mechanics of the game. One of the mechanics of the game is you can't travel when it's like dark night because you can't navigate.
Sure.
But you can sleep. You can choose to sleep through that part of the game, so you can just get back to traveling again. However, I never did that. I used those nighttime things, like nighttime times, to do all of my like upkeep, watering, planting, building, improving, smithing, blah 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 blah. So that's a lot of added hours that I probably didn't need. But the game is beautiful. The music is charming and enchanting. It's not overly prevalent. It's great background music, but when it needs to be, it's right there and it's great. It's really good. It just helps to pull those like the music just pulling those tears right out of your eyeballs. It's helping it along. But yeah, and then like I was saying, it's a complete experience. You do everything, all the shit is done, and you're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for it for the game to complete. And that's it. And it's a wonderful ending, and it's a wonderful game. I can't say enough nice things about it. I did not think I was gonna like enjoy it as much as I did, but it's really good.
Yeah, I'm glad you played it because last night is when I cut on to everyone like speaking so highly of it, and I had no idea what it is. So when you mentioned that you were playing it off stream, I was very excited to hear that. Co,
Yeah.
you took a look at this game as well. Is chat misinterpreting how you feel about it, or are they correct in saying that you actually didn't like the game?
It's not that I didn't like it, and I actually made it clear during my playthrough. It just didn't grab me. There wasn't quite enough there to kind of keep me going. I
That makes
thought that it
total
was kind
sense.
of like I was hoping there would be like a little bit more kind of like gameplay to it. It's a beautiful game. It has some of the best animations I've seen in a while. Clearly a whole lot of characters in development, but the gameplay wasn't quite there. And also, to put it bluntly, I'm kind of a big softie. So the idea of playing this game where you're just basically like a boat of floating people that the whole point of the game is to love them so then they can leave you is not like the like, hey, awesome, I gotta play this.
Yeah,
So it's
I get that.
yeah, I can, like I said during my playthrough, and also to be fair, like I wasn't like in the best mindset when I played it because like this was the day before Wasteland 3 came out, and I had been hyped for that game for a long time. You know, I was like ready
Sure.
to dive in and get going and everything. So it was just a couple days before it came out. So I knew I wouldn't be able to like give a lot of time to it. But yeah, it didn't really hook me as much as I was hoping. And but I completely understand why people could kind of like fall in love with this game, particularly people that kind of like having that narrative element and the kind of meaningful attachments to characters and things of that nature. But I might go back to it one day, but I don't have any plans right now.
Makes sense.
Well, I totally when I was playing, it was like there is not near enough intricacy for someone like Go. Like there's not enough management, and that's why it appealed to me so much, because something like Factorio or something like a super uber intricate management game, I don't get into them. This one has like a very nice storyline to go with all of the like like third grade level like management stuff. It's like you don't really get graded. You get like a smiley face or like a worried face. Like maybe we could work on this. Like for like as a management game. It's like it's not punishing at all.
Makes sense. I get it.
Yeah.
This game costs an amount of dollars, but it's also on Game Pass. So stop looking up the price
dude.
and just get Game Pass already. That's
Yeah,
what we
get
should
Game
start
Pass.
doing. For games on Game Pass, just don't say how much it actually costs and just get everyone the best deal. Did you see, by the way, that they stole that tagline? They're now pitching it as the best deal in gaming. That's the official thing around Game Pass. And I'm saying, where's our money? We need kickbacks for this. All right?
Absolutely. I think $3 to $5 per sub is good for that.
I agree.
mean, our way.
I agree. I 100% agree. Zeke, do you have?
Okay, these big companies think they can just screw the little guy. I tell you, man.
I don't know. It's ridiculous. Zeke, how much actually is this game? I think you might have the Steam page open or can get there faster than I can. Is it like $15-20, something like that?
Let me see here. There we go. I got it right here, and it is $29.99 on Steam.
Oh, okay. $30.
$30.
Yeah. Just get Game Pass. Wasteland 3's Game Pass. Microsoft Flight Sim, Game Pass. It's crazy. It's a fucking insane deal.
Wasteland 3, I still can't believe is on there. Like
I can't believe any of there's so many games on the whole thing. It's just ridiculous. Every single time that comes out with something, it's just like, well, that's insane. Yeah, Crusader Kings 3 is on there, which I jumped into the other day, but it's crazy. That's
so real quick, just to clear this up in chat. Somebody in my chat said, "Co, that sounds really biased." Like none of us are paid by Microsoft. None of us. I don't think we even do any. Do you guys do any work with Microsoft? It's not a. There's nothing to be biased about. They should be paying us for all the stuff we say about it.
Oh,
yeah, well, they absolutely should be. No, but I mean, it's just it's. We've talked about Game Pass for months and months and years almost. God, my lord, it's one of those. It's just one of those no-brainer things. None of us, I believe, are financially supported by anything related to it. There's no bias to be had.
Yeah, it's just
something that's always worth mentioning.
I personally have made lots of fun about Microsoft's console and everything. So
yeah.
It's a good deal.
Question, in relation to Game Pass, do they tell you how long the game is going to be on there somewhere?
That I don't know. I don't know.
Good question. I don't know.
Do games even leave Game Pass, or is it on there forever?
They leave. I can't assume they'd be on there forever.
Oh, they. Oh, chat saying they do leave. Okay, I didn't realize that. They leave, but they tell you in advance, according to chat. I didn't realize that. Maybe
I didn't realize that either.
Yeah, maybe by the time most of the time, by the time I'm finished with the game, I didn't even realize it was leaving there. Most are
first party titles never leave. Okay.
Gotcha.
Huh.
Okay. All right. I don't know if we'll spend that much time on this, but I've been spending way too much time in Microsoft Flight.
Still playing it?
I played it yesterday on stream. I play it probably 4 to 5 times a week off stream. It's like the best game to turn my brain off. Even like something like Final Fantasy 14, which I'm also playing almost every single day. That's a game where like my brain has to be active because I have to think like, oh, I need to go do this daily, or I got to go do it. And this one, I just like pick an airport and just go look at shit. I put it on easy mode so I don't actually have to like deal with the actual difficulties of the game. I just fly around and have fun. I don't know how much hours I have logged in. I don't know if I can track that, but probably at like 30 to 40 off stream. I can't wait till this game gets VR because it's already like super immersive with just having the yoke, which is like the steering wheel there, and the throttles and the pedals and all that stuff. As soon as it gets VR, like I'm 100% on board to just go look at stuff and fly around. In some ways, I'll never do it because the idea terrifies me, but also it would be really cool to learn how to actually fly because of this game. Like I wouldn't mind actually learning how to go fly.
This may seem like a dumb question, but
yeah.
Does it take you as long to get to a place?
It's 1 to 1.
It does?
It's 1 to 1. So
okay,
this is something that I actually can't express how like mind-boggling it is for people that haven't played the game. It's a 1 to 1 recreation of Earth. through like you can. There's 48,000 airports or some shit in the game that you can start off from. So like you can take off in the middle of fucking Antarctica, which I've done. The plane froze up, so I crashed very quickly because it's fucking Antarctica and like the sun's only out for 2 hours of 2 or 3 hours of the day right now at this time of the year. But like, yeah, it's I know Barry is a huge fan of it. So is Rami, and they do like daily flights where Rami's actually gone as far as to like he takes flights that he actually used to take all the time just to go on the flights because of how like good of a simulation it is, because he enjoys the act of traveling that way. And that's like hitting whatever that note is for him and fulfilling that part of his life, and the fact that he just goes and flies. But yeah, Zeke, it's a one-to-one recreation of Earth. So much so that, remember that house that you guys came to in San Antonio? The two houses that you came to in San Antonio for roleplay? I went on stream, flew out of San Antonio International Airport, flew over to my house and landed on the street in front of my house and said, yep, that's my house. This is the ramp where the roleplay table got stuck. That's the backyard. There's my neighbor that had the pool. Like, it's that fucking one-to-one. It's insane how crazy it is in terms of reproducing the world like that. It's nuts. It's a staggering thing. If you have any means to like play it, it's worth it.
I saw people go into the Epstein Island. Like I saw
Yes.
that like on.
People are going to the Epstein Island. There was, I mean, if we're going to like fucked up things people are doing, someone, whatever, I forget the flight number for the Malaysian Airlines that was lost or whatever. Someone like got in the water and flew that out of the water and was like, oh, I found the plane type shit. And that like went viral. Yeah, you can do some pretty absurd stuff with it. You can also just like I flew to Dubai and I just like looked at Dubai to see what it's almost, it's as close as I'll ever get to like actually going somewhere without actually traveling there myself. Like that's the level of reproduction that it's done of the world. And even so, like going back to places that I went and found the place where Chris and Shannon got married. I found that place in the game. I was just like, oh yeah, I remember this road. That's crazy. I didn't realize that we were this close to XYZ or whatever other monument was near me. It's great.
But to get there, you had to fly for like an hour?
Well, no, because there was an airport. It doesn't necessarily use like giant public airports. It uses also private airports. And so
so you can just go from any airport you want then.
Yeah. I don't.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it. There's like a.
Because I'm sitting here picturing like you have to go like I'm gonna go to Hawaii, but I started in New York, so
no.
I guess we're gonna do flight sim for 15 hours or whatever, however fucking long it takes.
No. Let me see if I can find the thing for it here. Oh, it's loading. So this is like choosing the plane. There's a handful of I don't 30 off the top of my head. They're adding ones every single day. You can see up here at the top that it has like from and to. Most of the time you don't even have to land. You can just exit the game. But for fun, if you want to like find an airport, you have to like pull up the menu, but contact air traffic control. What you're supposed to do, contact air traffic control, say that you want to land. They'll tell you what runway to land at, and then you have to maneuver to the airport and like actually land at that runway if you want the full simulation. It even goes as far as to, you can replace that through an unofficial role-playing thing that I'm forgetting, VATSIM maybe, where real air traffic controllers get real practice on this platform as air traffic controllers, like role-playing on like a Discord type situation. And so you have to like actively talk to them and like say your call sign and say they're going to tell you like go land at whatever. And that's really insane if you want to go that depth of like actually simulating what it is to fly. But you don't have to at all. You can just fuck off and ignore those guys completely.
No, you just mentioned the only thing that I might be interested in doing in this game would be like role playing with an actual air traffic controller. That sounds like fucking fun.
Yeah. But those guys take it very seriously. Like, when I say they take it seriously,
They're
like,
actually training. They should, right?
yeah, yes, they take it
I would hope they do.
very
Yeah.
seriously. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what else to. The other thing that's really fun is, and I say fun, but I was talking about this on stream the other day. It's almost kind of fucked up, but like when a giant hurricane shows up, because it's live tracking the weather of the real world, that hurricane shows up in game in real time with where it's currently at in the world. So when a hurricane pops up, you can fly into the hurricane and just see what that's like in real time. It's a little fucked up when it like makes landfall and you're like, man, this hurricane's really pretty looking, as people are like losing their homes and shit. So I didn't want to stream that anymore after processing that mentally. But the idea of going and looking at weather phenomenon is crazy to me. It makes you see actually like how giant these storms are. Whereas a lot of times you just see it on the news and think like, oh, that's a pretty big circle there on that weird looking map. This one shows how actually huge these things are. But yeah, that's Microsoft Flight Sim. I don't really have too much to say to it. I think the other thing, if people are curious at all, there's not actual like, so to speak, missions that you can do. It's the type of game where you definitely make your own fun and go check out things on your own time. There are like challenges that I think are rotating in terms of like land at this super hard to land at airport and get points for it. But that's not necessarily like in my mind, that's not the biggest draw to the game. It's essentially just like going and honestly traveling to these different places and seeing what that part of the world looks like. Has been what I've been most interested in. I flew over Disney. That place is like a 1-to-1 recreation of the park. And so you can see all the different rides there. And that type of stuff is just crazy to me. The fact that it's all in there and it's all streaming. I think I looked at it the other day. I don't know how much I have right now, but I think it's the actual game itself is like 5 gig to download on Steam. Then once you load the game, it has to download around 98 gigs of assets. And then when you're in game,
God.
yeah, when you're in game, it starts to stream the data of the places that you're flying over in real time. And you can kind of throttle that for your own needs in case if you have like bandwidth caps and stuff. But mine's unlimited. And I think in the 50 hours or so that I've played, it's somewhere like I think it was 400 gigs streamed so far. I haven't looked at it recently, but it's just like pulling a shit ton of data at all times to pull this stuff down, as it probably should be. But
yeah, someone in chat asked, can you fly side by side with someone? Can you get and jump into a game with somebody?
Oh, right. So right here, that down below, that name in front of me is another person in real time. I was flying with Rami and Barry in real time. They were like right on my wings. I'll try to get a better shot here.
I'm not seeing that name.
Yeah, it's very tiny. It just said Noxid 334. At the end of this VOD, we all landed on an airport out in the middle of the fucking Caribbean. So those are all real people right there. We're trying to land on this airport.
Okay.
So this airport was like, I don't know, 800 feet long. And I was flying in a little prop jet. So it was pretty easy to land there. Rami was in a 747 and you need a much longer runway to land on that. But he was like, fucking, I'm going to try. And so we all went out there and tried to land and then let Rami land it. So like, these are all real people right here. Rami's up to my left over here. Oh, it's not showing my mouse. It says Rami Ismail. He's in a 747. This is me trying to land it, doing a pretty terrible job. As another person's coming straight
Oh,
up.
God.
There's no collision.
You don't crash into him?
No,
Oh, okay.
I mean, people would do really fucked up shit.
People do terrible, terrible things.
Yeah, yeah. But there's Barry crossing the runway in his little plane. But yeah, we all just like landed out here and waited for Rami to land his 747. This is me capturing his stream. You can obviously see the 747s are fucking giant planes. They have multiple engines on them. They fly completely differently than like a normal prop plane, which is also a fun thing to experience. But I'll get a little bit closer here. We can see his landing, and then we'll move on to another thing. That's spoilers.
So just to be clear, there's nothing like gamified about this at all. It's just straight up sim.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm trying to think like what would be gamified. The difficulty is definitely
Achievements
gamified.
or anything like that. Like,
There are achievements, but it's like distance flown. Like there's challenges and stuff like that somewhat's
oh,
gamified. But it's
okay.
through and through a sim. Like it's not out there to like uh gamify the idea of flying. It's out there to simulate the game of flying. 100%.
Oh yeah, and I'm not talking bad about that kind of shit because
Right.
that has its place for sure. I was just wondering if there was anything that was in there, like the Red Bull airplane trick thingies or something like that.
No, not that I've seen. There is
Okay.
that's my favorite plane to fly is like the stunt plane because you can literally on the yoke just like hold it down. You'll just fucking start doing barrel rolls on easy and just constantly do that. And you can pull like loops and all that stuff, and it's super fun. But you don't get like there's not a course like a challenge course.
Straighten her out, Rami.
Yeah, Rami had a hard time landing.
That dirt's really gonna slow you down. Good job.
Yeah, he landed though. He's on a harder difficulty here, so it'll actually if you crash. Like if it simulates what would actually happen in a crash and says that you crashed, you die essentially. Like your game's over. And so on the harder difficulty that he's on, it actually will.
So he did
say
land,
that.
and that was it.
Yeah, he
Okay.
landed, and towards the end here, he took off again. If I could show that, yeah, he took off again. So yeah, it's a thing.
There's no like character models in the game. There's no like people at all, right?
There are people in the planes, but you have no control over
Oh.
that. It just shows like a little avatar.
Can you, well, I'm just wondering, can you get up in the middle of a flight and talk to the like walk out of the cockpit and talk to the passengers and shit, or like at least look at them or something?
I don't think it loads the other people, and there's no passengers, so to speak. You can't like walk around the plane. There's definitely first person stuff. In fact, one of the things that was really interesting about streaming this game is the like sim community abhors third person, and it's actually like that was one of the biggest complaints and like most aggressive complaints I had when playing this game is like has all this equipment and flies in third person mode. What an idiot. And I was just like, dude, I'm just having fun. Like, fuck you. Like,
Who cares?
what are you angry about this for?
It's a simulation. You should be simulating you're a pilot, not an airplane.
Yeah.
You're not the plane, you're the pilot.
Yeah, that was weird. And I think that still holds true. But you can see me here. Like, you can't actually do this type of shit. Just like straight up pulling that stuff. Your wings would rip off if going that fast, essentially. But yeah, it's fun. It's a gorgeous looking game. Some of it is like super photorealistic. I was flying through New York and Madison, Central Park area, and you can see like all the skyscrapers and like flew by the Statue of Liberty, and that looks photorealistic, like super awesome to see. So if you have Game Pass, once again, it's the type of thing where if you don't have a bandwidth cap and you got 100 gigs on your hard drive, download it overnight and just go check out your house in game, because it's a wild thing to see that type of shit all throughout.
Do me a favor. Next time you're there, why don't you make a stop at Logan International Airport in Billings, Montana, and take in the majesty.
I have just loaded it. There's an airport at Everest or near Everest that's like one of the hardest airports to take off from, because it's just like this at an incline. And so most people just like, I think when you actually fly it, you just remove your brake and then turn on the engine, because you get it's weird. There's some fucking crazy airports out there, Zeke. I know that was in jest, but there's some crazy airports out there for sure to check that out. And also you can just go to Billings and see what the fuck it's like. I've never been to Billings. Maybe I'll go check that out tonight off stream and see what it's all about. See how much flat area there is out there. And maybe turn on some snow. Where do we want to go next? Kelly, you finished Wasteland this morning, like literally right before the show. How was it? I know you're super into it, so let's talk about why.
Okay, it was great. I had a really, really good time with Wasteland 3. It was fully voiced. It was a game where through my save scumming, I could tell that it really, really rewarded you for not just being the good guy the whole time. There's many cases where you can't be the good guy. In fact, like the whole kind of theme of the game is more shades of gray than it is, like good or bad. There are many
That's
times
cool.
throughout the game where you're given decisions that don't have a good ending. There are many times where the decision is hugely impactful. I don't want to really give any examples for spoiler reasons. But many times throughout this game, I was given selections and I just had to sit there and be like, are you serious right now? Like what? Like, come on, man. And it was just joyous. The characters were fantastic. There were some amazing music elements where the music would just kick in and it would just be awesome. Fully voice acted with good voice actors. There's a lot of really good voice actors in the game that lend their talents to it, and a lot of good character development. The game definitely has its issues. There's a lot of technical issues with it now, especially pertaining to co-op. Load times are kind of obscene. I would have liked to have seen more interaction and development of the side characters. Um, but overall, a phenomenal game, and I can't wait to do another playthrough already. I'm already coming up with ways and things that I can do in my second playthrough to completely change how it's done, and I'm planning on doing that at some point for sure.
Now, someone who has not, I've only watched you stream it and a handful of other streamers stream it. Are there like classes? Are there, how does it, what's the game like in terms of like a character choice in terms of how you spec out? What can you do there?
There are basically a bunch of different skills. There's no classes. You can
Okay.
get quirks, which are good for different things, but you basically pick like a weapon skill, like big guns, automatic weapons, small guns, melee brawling is actually its own thing, and then you have a bunch of sub skills that kind of pertain to world interaction, like lock picking, kiss ass, hard ass, weird shit, sneaky shit, weird science, and
Now,
these
those are
all
the
allow you to
actual
like
in-game
use
terms, right? Sorry to interrupt, but
the
that,
actual in-game terms, weird science,
okay.
sneaky shit. These are like actual things that you do, and that you work up in, and they basically allow you to like use different weapons or have different traits, be better at sneak attacks, be better at disarming traps, or sneak attacks, disarming traps, things of that nature. And it kind of all plays into having different character archetype kind of things. So yeah, I mean, it was the thing about Wasteland 3 that made it kind of really special is Wasteland 2 was a really fun game and it did some really cool stuff. But the thing about it is in Wasteland 2, there were things like dump stats where like no character really needed them but one.
Mm.
Some of the skills didn't really line up super properly at times and weren't really needed. But in Wasteland 3, they definitely fleshed it out a lot more. So characters are a lot it's a lot better to round characters out. Stats have a lot more meaning in this one. Things are used a lot more, so there weren't really any stats that just were useless or I didn't feel like was good to have on somebody. So yeah, it was a lot more kind of complete and fleshed out experience. Playing on the hardest difficulty is extremely difficult.
That's what I was about
I
to
will say
ask. I
that
know
right
you
now.
played it.
It's yeah, I played through the difficulty called Supreme Jerk, and it was an extremely brutal experience. Even like my most decked out armored characters would basically get one shot by most enemies.
Huh.
So it was basically like playing a glass cannon group for most of the game. Um, Outside of my kind of tank, who I would kind of like throw forward into the fray to eventually get killed. Barry, you did a great job. But by the
Two
end of the
things.
game, became like extremely strong. Yeah,
Yeah.
Two things. Does it behoove you to play the first two before this one?
not necessarily. There is some lore based framework that kind of helps you understand things, and you do get to meet some of the characters in previous games. But you can absolutely pick up and play Wasteland 3 by itself.
Okay. Second, uh, I'm hearing tales about bugs and stuff. Did you run into that?
I was pretty lucky. If you're not playing co-op and you're playing just like apparently the non-Game Pass version, which was kind of weird. Although I later heard that the patch got moved to the Game Pass version, so I think that's something to do with the Microsoft Store in particular.
Uh,
But no, I didn't run into almost any bugs. I had one quest that was bugged, but it was very minor. It was just a side quest that didn't properly flag if I killed a character or not. But the game itself was pretty solid outside of the load times. I don't think I crashed once, and all the states and stuff worked properly. There are some pretty nasty bugs going around with co-op. Specifically, what can happen is your quest journal can get wiped, and then the autosave will save, and that'll make it so like when you go back to areas you've already been, because the quest journals aren't flagged properly, the quests cutscenes will replay and things will be not in the right place, and it can be really, really messy. I didn't run into any of that at all as a single player through it, and it worked fine. In Exile is currently, as they said earlier in the chat, working their asses off trying to get that stuff rectified. Also, I have heard of more problems on console.
Oh, this came out on
So it is on consoles, right?
Ah.
Yes. So I would probably recommend trying to play this on PC if you can.
Makes sense. I'm just watching the gameplay.
But nothing that's like super detracting. Like
no,
that.
for me it was great.
Okay.
I had almost zero issues outside of the long load times. Sometimes load times do get a little long. But yeah,
I'm sorry. Did you say you played it on Game Pass or you?
No,
you bought it
I did not play on
on
Game Pass.
Steam.
Just Steam?
Yeah, I had an early copy. I played it a couple days early, so I was given the review copy on Steam.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And then I bought it as soon as I have my own copy. I have a CE edition because I was actually a backer of the big campaign 4 years ago. So as soon as I could, I switched over to that version and did that.
Gotcha. I see 5 people in here. One of my biggest gripes with CRPGs is making the decision of who goes in the party and who I never interact with. Is that the case here, or do you have access to all party members at all times? Like, how do they handle that?
The way that it works is you spec out 2 custom characters at the beginning, and then shortly after there are 2 more custom characters you get to spec out, and those are your 4 main characters. You can pretty much split most of the game up to those if you want to. There's also 2 slots that are reserved for NPC companion characters. These are preset characters that come with their own skills and things of that nature, and those characters you kind of find throughout the gameplay. I actually stuck with the 2 first that I got, but there's not lots, but there are more options that you get throughout the game if you want to add them in and kind of tailor the party to your kind of style of play and that kind of thing.
Yeah. How is loot handled? Is it set in stone stats, or do they roll random variables, or what are we looking at here?
Loot it's pretty well done. First of all, you don't have any type of weight limit on your party. You can just hold as much as you want, and all of your characters share the same inventory. So loot is super easy in that regard. The UI could use a little bit of work. There's not super great UI feedback, and some of the obvious sorting stuff isn't there, like utility and medical and things of that nature. You can actually sort that out, so you do have to kind of scroll through it more than you'd probably like. But in terms of looting in the world, there are both static and random containers. So some like high-end containers you're going to open and they're always going to have the same thing in them. But then like the majority of containers, you can go into them and the container will have like a rank, and you can open them, see what's in them, and then you can even like go as far as reloading your game and then opening it again and would have different stuff.
How many times did you do that?
Very few this one, actually. I in Wasteland 2 I did it more.
Yeah.
In this one, I didn't like. There weren't any situations when I would open some. You get so much loot in this game. There is so much loot in this game. So it's the kind of thing where if you open a chest, you either scum every chest and you don't. And with the load times being as long as they are, it's just really not worth it to scum it. 9 times out of 10, if there's a really good item in there, then it's a static chest.
So even like the quick save, quick load is massively long.
It's any loading is long. Even transitioning between zones is pretty long. You're talking like 30 plus seconds in a good case.
Dang.
So it's by no means like a quick loading process. And as you get towards the end of the game, it even gets longer.
Is that just because the zones are so massive, or like you have no reason why? It just is. Yeah.
I have no idea. It's just long. Yeah. Like it's really unfortunate, but load times are definitely. I'm really hoping that In Exile is is going to be something that they can work on and get lower.
Gotcha. Cool.
Hope they're working on it.
Zeke, any other questions about Wasteland 3? This game just, for me, it's one of those games where it's so fucking huge that I have no idea how to approach it, and so I won't approach it. It's just too big of a game.
Is it turn-based or real-time strategy?
Turn-based.
Okay, then I might play it, but it's like, if anybody's asking for my chat or whatever, I've had a couple people, I might play it, but I'm going to wait for a month or two for the hype to die down and for you guys to play it all the way through so I can actually get some viewers.
It's team-based turn-based, which is cool.
So
your entire side goes, and then all of your friendly units go, or actually then all the enemy goes, and then all of your friendly units go, and then your character goes. So it kind of allows for a little bit more control over the situation.
Yeah, I just random what?
Oh god, there is some extremely disturbing stuff in this game. Yeah.
I'm
At some
not gonna
points, the
ask.
game even like
That
quasi
was
warns you about it.
I'm not gonna ask what
that
that
was like
was.
straight from Apocalypse Now. Like the Colonel Kurtz tells a story about hacking off arms and stuff.
Jeez.
Dude, there's so many references from like the 80s and 90s and early it's
Ah,
hilarious, dude. It is hilarious how many references are in this game.
it's a grim thing to see for sure. You made a tweet about this game being like, I don't want to take it out of context here, but you made a tweet about Fallout 3 and how this is what you wanted. Did you mean Fallout 4 in that case, or did you mean Fallout 3 in that case?
No, all three.
Can you reiterate that statement and then expand on it a little bit?
Okay.
I don't have
What I
it pulled
basically
up
said
off
is
the top of my head.
Wasteland 3 is the Fallout 3 I never got. And basically, like when Bethesda made Fallout 3, they took the world and the style of Fallout 2 and they kind of jammed it into a first person RPG. And don't get me wrong, I liked Fallout 3, I like New Vegas, I like Fallout 4. Like they're fun Fallout games, but it was a complete departure of from what Fallout 1 and 2 were. Not only in terms of like depth and immersion, but in terms of like how the story is conveyed to the person. So Wasteland 3 is one of the first times I played a CRPG, in a post-apocalyptic setting with just a huge amount of make your own story kind of in it. It's the first game I felt that was really kind of like a big iteration um of that style of game. So it felt like a Fallout 2 that was bigger, had more refined mechanics, full voice acting, looked better. Like it felt like a Fallout 2 that had been brought into the new age. And it feels more like Fallout 3 than Fallout 3 does. So that's kind of what I meant from that.
Okay.
It's just again, it's not really like a hot take or anything because I mean this is a true CRPG and Fallout 3, the actual Fallout 3 is not a CRPG. So all I was
I
trying
see
to
what you're
say
saying.
by
Okay.
that tweet is like this is the real evolution of Fallout 2 style CRPG, where Fallout 3 was a departure from CRPG into first person RPG. First person action RPG, I should say. But yeah. So that's what I meant by that tweet. It's a Fallout 3 I never got. And now that I finished it, I can definitely safely say that I feel very similar to when I made that tweet.
Garfield, what does a C stand for in CRPG? It stands for Co-Carnage.
Yes, it's a co-RPG. Just the little blurb we say about CRPG. CRPG started when RPGs first came to computers. They were actually computer RPGs. Baldur's Gate 1, Planescape Torment, Temple of Elemental Evil, Icewind Dale. Like these are like when D&D and that style of game was brought onto computers, CRPG was computer RPG. However, over time, since over the last 30 years, we've gotten tons of different types of RPGs. That C has kind of moved from computer RPG to classic RPG. And it kind of references those first generations of RPGs that came to computers. So yeah, these days it means classic RPG, but it started back in the 80s and 90s as computer RPG.
There you go. You know more about CRPGs than ever thought you needed from Co. That's how it goes. Game Pass, once again, another Game Pass game. What does it cost outside of Game Pass Co? Is it a full price? 50, 60?
Want to say so. I want to say it's a $60 game, and
$59.99.
definitely
I can see it on the Xbox store.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's $60 on Steam right now. As somebody who got just over $60 out of it, it's worth it. If you're an RPG fan, I would say 60 is a fine price for it. This isn't one of those things where I'd say wait for a
You mean
sale
60
or anything.
hours? Is that what you meant?
60 hours, just over 60 hours. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That being said, if you're not, or if you have other things to play, you may want to wait for those big bugs to get worked out, and especially if you plan on playing it co-op. It seems like for some reason a lot of the issues revolve around co-op. So if you're playing it by yourself and you don't mind load times, I'd say it's probably an okay pickup right now at like $1 an hour for value, which is well under what I usually do in terms of recommendation. But if you're wanting to play it co-op or you're wanting to play it on console, may want to give it a little bit more time.
Cool. All right.
Good news is the company that made it In Exile, they kind of proved with Bard's Tale 4 that even if it gets released in a not so great state, they generally kind of buckle down and work until they get it to a point where it's solid. So hopefully we'll see that same thing carry over into Wasteland 3.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember both you and Zeke played Bard's Tale, and they were updating that like super frequently. So seems like they have a pretty good track record with that for sure.
That's still one of those games that's in the back of my mind all the time. Like, man, I got to get back to Bard's Tale. That was a fucking lot of fun. And I never like finished it. And I just can't. I don't think I could. I don't think I could stream it and do. I don't know if it would do well streaming, but you never know. I still want to finish it. It's still on my mind. But Bard's Tale 4 was impressive, and that was a good buzzword for me. Like, oh, I like that game. Okay.
I'm sure that
So
game's
it
probably been.
gone through a lot of fix up since you played it last.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of am thinking about playing it again at some point. So down the road, I'm looking for another game to play. I'll probably play it again.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Cool. Let's talk about Avengers for a little while. I don't know like how much there is to talk about here.
That's the first time I saw you.
I don't know what
I never saw you in the outfit, dude.
I don't know what you're talking about. Zeke. There's Captain America was on my stream yesterday.
Dude, you look like a Futurama, like the when they go to Comic-Con at Futurama and the dude's dressed up like Spider-Man. He's got like whipped cream shooters.
Someone for Marvel fans out there, oh god, now I'm blanking on his name. Whatever the guy from Stranger, David Harbour's character is in Black Widow. That's who I look like. The Captain Russia or whatever his name is, because he has a beard. It looks ridiculous.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You can Google that. The Red Guardian. Yeah, Google Red Guardian, Zeke, and it looks like I'm the Red Guardian as Captain America. Anyways, this is Marvel Avengers. This is such a strange game to talk about for so many different reasons. Because one, I'll just out front, the beta was one thing, and I enjoyed my time in the beta. The launch of this game from a single player standpoint, I'm playing a different game essentially from like the storytelling aspect. They like took all of the, I don't know, character growth, character is the word I'll choose there, out of the beta completely, that you just didn't get any sense of at all. And here in the main release of the game, like the single players, like it's like an Uncharted game. It's fucking fantastic. The story beats are great. The voice acting, whereas, they like announced the game with the voice actors and all the voice acting was a little bit stale and looked kind of robotic. The characters in the game are great. And the voice acting is phenomenal and the writing is great. I think a lot of people may be worried that like getting into the game, you have to have the suspension of disbelief that it's not going to be Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, right? Like, or it's not going to be Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow. While I haven't interacted yet with Black Widow in the story, the Iron Man is not Nolan North. So I'm basically playing with Nathan Drake is kind of how he handles that performance of Tony Stark. And it's really, really well done. Troy Baker plays Bruce Banner. And he's really good in that role. Kamala Khan is I think, I forget her name, but she's phenomenal as the voice actor. She's not necessarily one of the Troy Baker, that style of, or that well-known of a voice actress, but she's great. Laura Bailey, I think, is Black Widow. So they have recognizable names and names that are very good at what they do. And so from that point of view, storytelling is fantastic.
I just picture Marvel just like throwing like bricks of cash. Give me the best.
Dude,
give me all the names, all of them.
Yeah, they definitely have like a star-studded list of voice actors through and through. With all that said, there's a ton of issues with the game from I wouldn't say it, maybe a ton. I didn't run into that many technical issues. I think I had 2 crash to desktops yesterday, and there is without a doubt a memory leak somewhere in the game, which is really unfortunate because it'll actually like start to tank your FPS pretty dramatically. Like if Hulk goes up and grabs a rock from the ground, and the debris spreads, your FPS will drop to like 20. And then as soon as that animation's over, it goes back up to like 60 or 70. So that needs to obviously be fixed for sure. This is granted the PC version, from what I've been told and what chat's been telling me, the console stuff, the console versions do not have this issue. It runs at a silky smooth 30 FPS on all of those. But yeah, the story stuff is fantastic. I haven't touched the multiplayer stuff yet. I did in the beta. I'm assuming not much is going to be changed there. It's Destiny style gameplay through and through. It has like faction, reputation stuff to where you go and do dailies and you get all of that stuff you can come to expect from like a games of service stuff. With all that said, obviously the elephant in the room is kind of how they're handling microtransactions. And I think a lot of that, one comes down to like hit jobs on Twitter where people post 140 characters of information and then don't actually give the full story on how they're handling it. But I don't want to turn into like this weird Avengers apologist where I'm explaining all their systems. I would just say go read the blog post because it's kind of one of the fairest versions of the game, or of a games of service in terms of how they're handling that. But the Spider-Man shit, without question, fucking sucks. There's no way to get around that. I can't spin that. They can't spin that in a direction. Spider-Man being locked to PlayStation sucks. Like that's bad. It's very anti-consumer. And it's not something we haven't seen before. I just wish it's something that we would never see. But yeah, that is what it is. Spider-Man's not in the story of the base story at all of Avengers. They actually yesterday came out and said the way that they're handling like future updates is all the DLC characters are free. The first one comes out, I think, in October, which is Kate Bishop, which is like the female Hawkeye, or Hawkeye, not Hawkeye. That's DC. And then November is actually Hawkeye. Those are going to be story continuations of like, I put in 10 hours yesterday. Someone told me I'm about 50 or 60% of the way through the story. It's about a 15-hour story experience. $60 game as well on top of that, to get access to that. And then you get the games of service and all that stuff. And the DLCs are going to add new story and new villains to it to kind of continue that thread. But yeah, with all that said, I'm super excited to go back and finish the story. I've only kind of seen like 3 out of the 6 Avengers from a story point of view. It opens up where it kind of does that general game thing where like, these are all the Avengers, meet all of them, and then stuff happens and you have to kind of hashtag reassemble as their big marketing thing. So that's what they're pushing there. But from a Marvel fan point of view, the game opens up and you're playing as a young Kamala Khan walking around a festival as like Avengers just show up next to you and then they geek out. Or she geeks out and says like, oh my God, you're Captain America, blah, 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 blah. That was really fucking cool to experience. Is like a diehard Marvel fan. It was just a genuine experience of walking around of like, this is what I would be like in this situation. So that was really cool. But yeah, I don't know. That's Marvel Avengers. I've spoken way too much. So if you guys have questions or comments, I'm happy to answer what I can about what I know about the game.
I'm wondering if you know what? I'm not even gonna say it. I was gonna say like about exclusive characters. I wonder if there's like, we'll show Sony and we'll use one of our characters, even though it's not in the Marvel universe. We'll put someone in there that they can have.
Yeah.
Of course not. Of course they wouldn't do that. The backlash from Sony is terrible, but that's why I wasn't going to ask it, because it's just a silly question.
Yeah. I doubt that. I feel like with the success of the first Spider-Man game, that Sony kind of like locked that shit down to make sure that they get the like quote best version of a multi-platform game. And so that's kind of what you're seeing with like the DLC shit there. And it, in turn, the developers also, I'm sure, got money for that. It's not like they just said, hey, we're going to lock this shit down. It was, we're going to give you this amount of cash so you can work on the game. And in turn, we'll get Spider-Man for free. I would assume that's how that went down, but yeah, it's good. I want to play more of it. I'll probably have more to report next week on like what the actual loop is in game. I'm going to assume it's farming items and getting a higher gear score and then getting into the raid type stuff. I don't know if the raid's in the game yet or if it's coming soon or if it launched. I haven't looked too much into that. I've just been enjoying the single player stuff because it's really, really well fleshed out and well done for sure. Raid is not in yet, according to chat. So,
see, you're too buff to zip the costume all the way up.
Yes, yeah, 100%. It's, I mean, yeah, a lot of muscles. Dude.
You're Terry Crews in that shit.
Yes, Terry Crews in that shit, without a doubt. So yeah, that's Avengers. Zeke, what have you been playing besides Spiritfarer?
Well, I played through another Leisure Suit Larry game. This one was from 1998, called Love for Sale.
Oh boy.
It's Leisure Suit Larry. It's the seventh game in the series. Jeez. I had no idea there were that many games until I played this one, because I played the newest one, Wet Dreams Don't Dry. That one came out last year, I believe. And I played that, and then I was like, this isn't so bad. And it's really not. Like, people were asking me throughout the day, of course, like, isn't this game banned? It's like, no, it's not. And then if you play it, you're like, you can understand why it's not banned. It's mostly tongue in cheek. Yes, they flash a titty every once in a while, but it's mostly in Easter eggs that you have to actually go searching for or be told. Because some of the Easter eggs, there's no fucking way you would get those Easter eggs, like a couple of them, without like a guide or like, an internet forum or something like that, because you have to like click the third tooth twice and then click the O in the cook off, like something like it's Easter eggs like that, like how to reveal them. So I had people helping me throughout, and yeah, there were some cheeky moments. You got to see like some nude chicks, but like they were on screen for all of like 2 seconds. Mostly it's just sex jokes, and there's one lady in the game who plays like the deckhand. She like fixes and cleans everything. She swears all the time, but they bleep it out. They don't even swear in the game. Like maybe one shit or two, like here and there, but they bleep out all of her fucks and cocksucker and all that shit. There's all bleep. But it's mostly just funny, tongue-in-cheek stuff. You play as Larry Laffer. Wait, hold on. You play as Larry. Larry Laffer. That's the way he says his name. Every time he says it, introduces himself to somebody. And you are on this cruise ship, and the object of this cruise ship is you get this card that has these categories on it, like horseshoes, bowling, craps, or dice games, and all these things, and you have to max. The whole game is maxing out all of those, getting like the highest score or the best performance. Oh, this one, I'm in the room where they scan you to see if you're the best dressed on the boat. So you have to get it. It goes from 1 to 100. They scan you the first time and you get a score of 2. But then you have to like go convince. There is a fashion designer on the ship. Spoiler alert for a 1998 game. There's a fashion designer on the ship, and you have to convince her that polyester is the tits. And once you do that, they scan you again, and you get a score of 100. And that's like the game is. You have to max out all those things. So you have to figure out how to beat the bowling game, how to beat the horseshoe game, and so on and so forth. But most of the fun comes from the dialogue, the shitty jokes. Sometimes the jokes are fucking really clever, but most of the time they're just like the worst, like dad, like locker room dad jokes. Like they're just this side of like, sexual and suggestive jokes and stuff like that, but they never go too far. Or never go like a disgusting amount. It's just like, I'm into boobs. Look what I typed. B equals capital D. That looks like a penis. It's juvenile. But it's fun. It was funny. I had a blast playing it. Of course, like any point and click, there were some frustrating points where I got stuck, but
do you have to pixel hunt?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Here and there. But the pixel hunt, they actually added a mini, or not a mini game, like a collectibles in the game on different scenes called Where's Dildo instead of Where's Waldo. And you had to find this red and white striped dildo in like some of the scenes. There's 32 of them throughout the game, and you click on it, and let me tell you, let's see if it's gonna work. 1 second. The song that accompanies it makes the searching for every single one and finding them absolutely and totally worth it. Let me 1 second. Here we go. Yeah, baby. Every time you click on a Where's Dildo, you get that. You get that little conga song, but it starts with yeah, baby. Anyway, it's a funny game. It holds up. It shows its age, but not in a bad way. It's just a little bit pixelated here and there. And that's why I don't understand. Like, it was banned for a while on Twitch, but then I'm sure they were just like, let's take another look at this. And went, oh. Well, a couple of them. I think there's a couple of games. Like I think Magna Cum Laude
Yeah.
it was on the list for a while because it's one of the more raunchier of them, but they took it off the list. There's no Leisure Larry on the ban list anymore because it's too hilariously like
It's just
like
toilet
US
humor.
Yeah, toilet humor and boob humor, like juvenile shit. But it was great. I had fun.
Yeah. Did that one take did you use like the original CDs and everything for that? Did it take a while to run?
Yep.
You did?
Yep. If you go to my YouTube, the last Week in Zeke highlight video is like 60-70% me trying to install the game on different systems, and we finally found a patch that allows you to play the game from the disc, but on a Windows 10 system. So I was actually playing it from the disc. You can hear the skips, like when the disc has to find the new track. It'd be like, well, Larry, I gotta find where that is. Like you hear it like skipping because it has to find the new track or whatever. So I did play it from the disc, yes.
All right. I'm scrolling back through VOD list. I didn't know you played Rogue Legacy 2. It was short.
I did.
Was there not that much there? How much different is it from Rogue
Early
Legacy
access.
1? Oh, okay.
It's great. I really, really enjoyed Rogue Legacy 2. Oh, you picked a good one.
I picked a great spot to come into this VOD. By the way, you can get a character that flip. It's fine. Just play. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's really fun. I had a great time with it. I was actually really sad when I got the little message saying that you've gotten to undeveloped content. So basically, it's kind of funny as the devs. There's like different regions, and you get to the second region, and the devs are like, "Well, we haven't really made this second region yet, but we have started working on the third, kinda. So you can kind of play the third if you want, but it's like completely messed up and not really the same." And like I got to the point in the tech tree where things are just locked for early access. So, but the short of it is, this game is going to be great. I loved Rogue Legacy 1, and this is going to be like another. It's just more. It's everything that made Rogue Legacy fun, except with more. And I can't wait for this game to be done. I'll probably put a good little bit into it when it is.
Yeah, I didn't realize
Now,
changed the art style this much. That's all I was going to say was that comment. By all means, continue.
Now, is this or is this not where the term rogue and roguelike come from? Like the first one, not this one, but
I think it was
because you die and restart, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, okay. Like,
it's not
like
okay.
rogue.
I'm
the term roguelike is from like way back.
Yeah, I think this is a product of that, if anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a roguelite, which means like it's not the kind of thing where you die, you start again, and you have nothing. When in this game, whenever you die, you get to like take all your money and like develop your town, and that's constantly growing and growing and growing and getting you updates and updates as you move forward. So this is a roguelite with a T and not the roguelike, where there's like no metagame of any kind. You're just learning yourself between games and kind of getting better and better as a player. So, but yeah, no, this doesn't have anything to do with the term, I don't think.
Sorry, I'm entranced by this game. Looks fucking great.
It's great. It's a super cool game.
Yeah,
it's like there's like 4 or 5 different classes, and there's like random abilities you can get, and the quirks make it really interesting as well, and the maps are randomized every time. It's a really cool game.
Yeah. They having played the first one a decent amount, they definitely improved on like the art style as well as the. I don't know what's it called when you attack something and it feels good. What's the buzzword for that? Is that visceral?
With weapon play.
Weapon play. Let's go with that. That's a good one. The weapon play seems fantastic.
I've always used the term satisfying.
Oh yeah, it's very satisfying
too. Oh yeah,
yeah,
a lot better. The combat is far more satisfying for sure.
Yeah. That looks cool.
Game feel. No, not mouth feel. That's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
The game has good thumb feel.
Yeah.
I also played There Is No Game.
Yeah.
Did you finish it? I'm not going to pull up the VOD of that. I feel like we showed enough when Zeke played it, and I don't want to like spoil what that game is. Yeah.
There Is No Game is an absolutely awesome game.
But there's no
like
game.
If it's one of those things where if you've got like 4.5, 5 hours and you just want a fun, unique, very funny experience, play that game. It's basically a puzzle game, but it does a lot of extremely unique things, and it was a lot of fun, man. It's called There Is No Game: Wrong Dimension, I want to say. And it is indeed a game.
Is it?
I think.
Who knows?
But no, it was great. I had a great time with it. I played it basically on Zeke's recommendation, and once again, Zeke proves that when he recommends something, it's generally a good idea to try it. So, yeah, I had a great time with it. It was really good.
Yep.
Cool.
It's on Steam right now. I don't know. Is it on? No, it wouldn't. I don't think it would be
I
on
don't
Game
think it's
Pass.
on Game
I
Pass.
gotta check now. Like every single fucking time I mention a game, I gotta see if it's on Game Pass.
That's
Um,
what they do.
but it's on Steam for $12.99. So.
Cool. I don't have much to say about this game, but I do want to talk about it because I think our audiences, maybe it's just my audience, is all about this game. Crusader Kings 3 is apparently a fantastic fucking game, and I played
Did you
it.
try it?
I played it for about, I don't know, maybe 3 hours total. I feel like I maybe played 0.5% of what this game actually is. It's huge in ways that I don't necessarily. It's a big game, is essentially what I'm trying to say in a long-winded way. But I want to play more of it. I think I'm definitely going to go back to this game. I don't know if it's going to be soon or if it's going to be later or if it's going to be on stream or off stream. But it definitely, I think what I thought going into this game is that it was like Civilization 5 or 6, whatever number they're on. But it's actually much more like, I guess, role-playing focused in the sense that you get asked things like, God, I don't know how to even talk about this game intelligently because there's so many random terms that are specific to this. Basically, you're choosing things that like dictate that your character is going to get this trait, or your children who are your heir, which when you die, you end up playing. So you want to make sure that they get as best traits that you are the best traits possible for them, so that when your current character dies, when you inherit them as your heir and start playing them, that you're strong, essentially. Also, I've found that you can change your character here, so that's what I'm currently doing, choosing some really random stuff. But it gets really intense in ways that you wouldn't think. So much so that both of you were my children. You were also twins in the game. And then at one point, it dawned on me that I could actually force a marriage if I removed my religion of Christianity and made it so that you guys actually could get married and we could have a true family line. You can do some really weird stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
Back up in the video just a second.
Okay. What to what specifically?
Just like a minute ago. There you go.
Yeah.
That's fine. Did you position yourself like
no, that was that just happened. I didn't know where to put my camera. I didn't know where to put my camera.
That's something I would do.
And Chad was like, put yourself top left. And so that's what I did. And they're like, wait a minute, you lined up perfectly with your person's head. Great. We'll just stay here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was completely.
So I married who?
You married Ko. No, sorry. You could have married Ko, but the only way for that would be possible. And you guys were twins and also my children. So
so we got a Jamie Cersei thing going.
We could have, but I would have had to change the entire country's religion from Christianity because that goes against Christianity. So you could go into the religion.
People that to get a divorce. So I mean,
can you introduce a new religion?
You can go in and change Christianity to worship the devil. You can change everything about your religion. Cool. Like, and when I say like everything, there's so many fucking options that you can go and change.
I like how someone in my chat was like, Ko, you should do a little look at Crusader Kings 3, give it like 100 hours and get a glimpse of the game.
Yes. So that's the other thing is this game is it's a time eater. You're seeing Ireland here. If I were to zoom out, it is Path of Exile skill tree levels of what the fuck, this place is huge.
Is it management? Is it?
Yes, the goal is to take over the world, I guess. I don't know. I 3 hours in a game that people said they've spent $4,000 in, and that's like low levels of hourage in this game. But yeah, you can do a lot of shit in this game. Chat's saying it's Mountain Blade without the combat. I guess it's management. Yeah. You can do a lot of different things. You can have your 2-year-old married a 50-year-old in this game. Like they kind of skirt the lines of what is fucked up, I guess is how I would say that, and just allow you to let it happen if that's what you want to do.
But there's no running story throughout.
You create your own story.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I mean,
Okay.
it follows history as history would occur, but you create your own story in the sense of like the Queen of England worshipped Satan or something like, or I killed the Queen of England or something like that. Also, that's my cat. Sorry. I pulled a Z. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the game. And so I feel like I've barely scratched the surface. So it's really hard for me to answer a lot of your questions on it. This is only really maybe the only reason I bring it up is to maybe spark interest in either of you, just to see how ridiculous it can get. Because in the 3 hours that I played it, it got pretty ridiculous pretty quick. And so I can only imagine what it would be like for you guys, for sure.
That'll happen in 3 hours.
This was 3 hours. Yeah. And this was only the tutorial area. I never played.
So you had twins, changed the religion, we got married, and that's 3 hours.
No, I could have changed the religion. I actually had about 7 children throughout the 3 hours.
Okay.
Because you can speed up time however fast you want. I was playing at like half pace, or on a scale of 3 to 5, I was playing at 3. It's down there in the bottom right. But yeah, there's a lot going on. You can see all the fucking clickable things here that you can see you can, at any given time, you can pull up, your character starts not married, I think, or can start not married. And so you can pull up all of the characters in the world that you could get married to and search them and look at their skills and see who they potentially might be, or see what they might get as an heir to, or see what traits they have that might pass down to your children. It gets real nuts real quick. And I could totally see why people are like huge fans of this game. I did not know that going in, but apparently this game has like a very, very diehard fan base. So I'll probably revisit it.
Fine. Okay. Fine.
It's also on Game Pass. It's on Game Pass. If you want to get on Game Pass.
Of course it is.
If you want a
Of course it is.
$4,000 or 4,000 hour game, it's on Game Pass.
Okay.
Yeah. There also is war. You also go and attack villages. So that's got like some of that in there. Chat, what do they call it? When you can essentially like start rumors in different cities that allow you to have like claims to that city. And so that's how
politics.
No, it's called schemes. You can start schemes, but yes, politics, but also schemes. You can send a member of your church over, and basically that member of the church will like cook the books to show that you have a right to this land so that you can declare war on that land. That type of shit. So yeah, it's the Cassius Belli to declare wars legally is essentially what that is. But you can also just straight up blackmail people. You can say, hey, your daughter is currently in my prisons because I captured her when I raided this village. I would like you to trade me X for your daughter. And if not, I'm going to murder her by execution. So what do you want to do? And then the AI will like figure out what to do. Has full on multiplayer as well. And those schemes also work. And it doesn't tell the other players that you're scheming them. So apparently that can make for some really interesting situations. Because you might just be like appearing nice, but in actuality, you're trying to take over their fucking country or something like that. So yeah.
So I don't have a game tonight for my cozy stream, and everything you've been talking about here sounds just something that would be so relaxing and I think I'll try it tonight.
It might be worth it.
Tonight.
It might be worth it.
We'll see how cozy this game can get.
You can also just straight up like right click a city, and much like I just said, where you could do like the Cassius Belli to have a legal action of declaring war. You can just straight up send a spy to murder the owner of the city, or like the king of the city or whatever, the king of the kingdom, and just have them straight up murdered. There's a chance that it will like fail and pass and all that stuff, but it's good. Late Shift has been playing in multiplayer. If you want to see like a multiplayer version of it, they've been having a great time with it. From what I've seen, like Bike Man, Burke Black, and all them are playing it. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot, and I've barely scratched the surface. So, Co, if you're gonna jump in, I'm glad. Zeke, I'd love to talk about it maybe a little bit more in depth next week when I actually maybe put some time into it, because it seems like there's a lot going on in this game. Also, that's you and Co right there on screen. Funny enough.
Nice.
You guys were also Zeke. You were the girl.
I'm so plain.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too.
Why didn't you adorn me with dresses and jewels, JP?
Co was actually.
I deserve it.
Co was one of his traits was comely, which means he was attractive. I forgot what Zeke's trait was. I think you were mischievous or something like that, and so you got plus to like warfare, and I don't. I'm making up terms now, I think, at this point, but
I think it's comely, by the way.
oh, is it comely? Okay, gotcha. Oh yeah, Zeke wasn't. That's a joke. Someone said you were easily angered is a trait. Which
what?
Yeah, it was just a joke. Yeah. Anyways, that's Crusader Kings 3. Yes, out on Game Pass.
Yeah, it is.
Anything else in the past or in the last 5 minutes of the show you guys want to just blurt out there?
Yeah, just real quick. This won't take very long. I played a game that I really enjoyed called Struggling.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
let's talk about
it. It's worth talking about, but there's not much more than 5 minutes to talk about because you'll see like the game kind of explains itself. Before we begin, I just want to say the game has fucking phenomenal like sound design and music. Okay. It's really, really good. Like all of the background noises, the just sound effects, but also like the music that is played at certain points is really, really good. That aside, I love the art style. I love the weird like God, what is it? It's like comic booky-ish. It looks like it's like Cronenberg. You play as this like Cronenberg blob with like 2 arms. The best part about it is if you choose to play it co-op, it's so much fun because each one of you controls 1 arm, 1 grip. You have to work together to like traverse these things. This is me. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm playing. Can you go just a little bit more further ahead?
Sure.
Yeah, this is where I started playing co-op. And one of you's the red arm or orange arm. One of you's the blue arm.
Oh, shit.
And you have to like talk to each other or work together to get over these. Oh yeah, you're gonna have to go further ahead because I had to quit out to implement some changes or whatever.
Congrats,
there we go.
Dave.
All right. So I'm at the top, but you can see me. I'm like right here. There I am.
Okay. Gotcha.
And one of you controls 1 arm, one of you controls the other arm. The music is great. You have to climb over all these different obstacles and stuff. There's the collectibles in the game are hats. So if you like, you'll be wandering by a section and you'll hear like these was secret, and it gets louder, secret, as you get closer. Like if you're on the right track to tell you where like a secret place is to find another hat. And the hats range from like a red Solo cup to like a boot to like, just random different shit. And it's fun to go like exploring with other people. And it's just a charming, fun, like challenging game. There's like, I got to 1 boss fight. So there are
bosses.
like boss fights. Yeah. And it was a lot of fun. The boss fight that I got to was like set up like a pinball game. So you had to grab these things and like swing your arm. Like whoever had it had to swing the arm and like throw it up to like, hit the ramp and hit the bumpers. And like basically the boss fight, you had to destroy like these cysts. Yeah. It's a lot of an anatomical, grossy, toxic stuff. Like your toxic waste mutant kind of shit. But it's also like there's another button in the game where either of you, because your 2 heads basically melted into 1, so you both have the ability to speak. And what happens is one of the heads goes, ah! Like you hold it down and you like yell longer a little bit, and the other one's like, and like you can hear them like back and forth doing that the whole time, and it's fucking hilarious. Yeah, it's called Struggling. Just like it sounds. It's on Steam right now. I'm not sure where else it is, but it is
$15.
$14.99. Yep.
Yeah.
Developed by Chasing Rats Games and published by Frontier Foundry, and it was surprisingly a lot of fun.
Cool. Looks
Very
like
cool.
It looks like an Adult Swim fever dream. That's how I would pitch
Yes.
this game.
For sure.
Did you? Is this a Devolver game? This has to be a Devolver
No,
game, right?
published by Frontier Foundry.
It certainly looks like it,
It's
doesn't
not a Devolver game.
I thought so too, buddy.
How did they not-
I was like,
Dude,
Devolver.
It's really funny because they went around and they got a lot of streamers to do like showcases of Frontier games. So
Yeah.
they would like do all the normal Frontier games, and then this one,
There's like Jurassic
it was-
Park and like yeah. I think I saw some
was
of that.
it was an experience to see some of them.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right, I think three on the dot. That's the show. That's the drop frames. It's been a while since we need to do more of these every week. We've played too many other
We're here
games.
every week. We're just not necessarily, you know,
We're just playing other
talking
games.
about video games.
Yeah.
Oh, I played a little bit of, by the way, I played a little bit of that PGA on my own time.
Yeah, that golf game was good, man. I thought we had a pretty good time with that.
Getting ready
Yeah.
for the next tournament. See,
Yeah, the Drop Frames Classic 2 coming soon.
I love playing competitive golf games.
How many people can you get in the lobby for that, by the way? Is it 4 max? Did
I think it's 4.
Oh, it's 4.
I think I
It's 4.
remember there was 4 slots.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. We could make that a monthly thing, and I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, golf was fun. I had a blast playing that. Get some
Oh
more
yeah, you
people
got
in
to
there.
play. You got to talk about Path of Exile next time, or wait, not Path of Exile.
Oh, we do. No, Path of
There-
Exile.
there's
They had
a
an
new thing
announcement for their
yesterday,
hype trailer. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think we can talk about it next week because I think it's out
Launching
the week
on
after
Friday.
that, or the week after.
Is it the 18th? Yeah,
I wanna
18th.
say that, yeah.
Okay,
Yep, that's when it comes out. 2 weeks from this Friday. Yeah, we'll talk about it next
just
week.
trying to be the voice of the mewling masses.
I haven't watched the trailer yet. I'll be doing that Friday.
Oh
probably.
yeah, we didn't talk about New World at all either. Oh man, yeah, we got more stuff for next week.
Maybe we'll have Sack. I know we're gonna have. There's a high chance we're gonna have a guest to talk to in the first half of the show, but maybe we'll get Zachary on in the second half to talk about New World because I know he's been enjoying that a lot.
That'd be good.
Yeah. Anyways, let's do some shout outs and call it a show. Zeke, start us off.
What up, everybody? My name is Ezekiel III. I want to give a big thank you to Sven for coming on for the first half of the show today. What a wonderful guest! Honest, fun, funny, really cool. So thank you very much for joining us. Also want to thank Co and JP for being the co-host with the Mo hosts every week. If you want to find me, I'm at or / Ezekiel_III, just like that. On Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Now I'm on Instagram as well. And I don't remember what my Instagram thing is. It might be Ezekiel III all spelled out because I don't know if they allow underscores. I'm pretty sure if you want, that's where we're starting to post like the minute long highlight videos that my dude Scott has been doing. But if you want to catch me, I will be on in about 30 minutes on twitch.tv/tablestory for tabletop role playing, called Gone. It's a sci-fi, weird, wild, wacky mental adventure. It's great. If you want to see me playing video games, I'm on Deponia, which we didn't discuss. Started Deponia. Should be able to finish that tomorrow. So that's tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific. I'll be back doing Deponia the first time ever playing. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Cool. Do some shout outs.
Sure. As always, big thank you to JP and Zeke, and of course, a huge thank you to Sven. That interview was the highlight of my month. It was so much fun, and cannot wait for Baldur's Gate 3. My name is Ko. Hi. If you haven't heard of me, I stream pretty much every day at 8 a.m. We just wrapped up Wasteland 3, so tomorrow morning we're going to be probably checking out an alternate ending to Wasteland 3, and then going into the Control DLC. We're going to be checking out the AWE Control DLC, seeing how that goes tonight. Probably around 6:30, we're going to apparently dive into Crusader Kings 3. We'll see how that goes. Later in the week, we've got Kingdom of Amalur. We've got the Outer World DLC. We've got a whole bunch of stuff coming down. Necromunda soon. It's gonna be big. So lots of new stuff coming in the pipeline. Hope you join us for it. If I don't see you for any of that, see you next week for more drop frames. Thanks for watching.
Cool. That'll do it. Once again, I'll echo what they said. Huge shout out to Sven for joining us. We'll probably have that interview up later tonight and then the rest of the show tomorrow. But I'll confirm that after we wrap up here and let you guys know, probably on Twitter. So that's that for Drop Frames, though. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back next week with more. Have a great rest of your week if we don't see you then.